call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have a roll call when you're ready.
Josh Hewitts. Present. Krista Stillwell.
Present.
Rick Gunyon.
Present.
Mike Reeder.
Present.
Mike Kelly.
Present. Okay. Look for a motion to approve or any corrections to the minutes.
I move we approve the minutes.
Motion by Krista and second,
Second.
Mike Reeder. Roll call when you're ready.
Josh Hewitts.
Aye.
Rick Gunyon.
Aye.
Krista Stillwell.
Aye.
Mike Reeder.
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. Under public participation, we're going to put Dan in as a public participant tonight so that he can do his presentation and then go on, because he's out of his work time now, so
Got it.
I'm in overtime now.
on overtime now.
Big back. Yeah. I think Josh knows how that works.
Oh yeah. I was all for it. Nobody else ever wanted to vote for it.
I would have.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me here this evening. Really, I'm here to answer questions. I've got a map up there. You can see the Prairie Creek is the orange area that's highlighted, and you can see the drains that the county has that's coming into that. I do have one more larger copy of that, excuse me, if somebody would like it. But these are the areas where we have most of our problems. One of the things that will affect you guys the most are your pipelines. You have quite a few of them across our creek. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think there's maybe 5. We spend a lot of time pulling debris out of those. That could essentially be something you could help us with. We hire a tree company to come out and do that as a general rule, unless it's bigger, in which case we'll bring a contractor in with an excavator and trucks, pull it out. But, yeah. That was my laser point. That is something that you could really help us with. I know you guys have some people that specialize in tree removal, and that could be very useful to us. We're looking at sharing costs on some of this thing, and in particular where those pipelines are, we get into those several times a year. Occasionally it's a very large obstruction. We had one a few years ago at the golf course, and I forget what goes across there, a large sewer main, I believe. And I think we spent close to $20,000 clearing the debris out of that. We had to bring in a very large excavator, construct a ramp to get down to it. I think Josh remembers that. He was probably commissioner then, president of the drainage board. So it does get rather expensive at times, just clearing the pipelines and making sure they're safe for your operation. Other things we got going on in Prairie Creek is a lot of erosion. We have, at last count, 3 garages that they allowed to be built next to the creek banks. They are now in danger of falling in. We are not going to save those garages and put in pilings, things like that. It'd be way more than the entire property's worth. So we'll condemn the garage, tear it out. We'll do some erosion repair on the bank. We have that scheduled, one of them on Green Street at the bridge there. And Josh will remember this one too. We've been working on this one for a long time. And we're getting permitting now from the state to work in the waterway. But that project's going to exceed well over $100,000. The other big one that we have up is down on Prairie Creek downtown. Mike is familiar with this one. There's a parking lot down there that's shuffling off into the creek. There's also a wall at Prairie Creek Park, the aquatic center, that the banks are getting undercut. So we're looking at redoing that. While we're there, we've just decided to increase this to a larger project. There's a church on Clinton Street that an architect many years ago built out into the creek, which has caused a lot of the problems that we have there on the parking lot. When you armor something or put some obstruction in the creek, that water is going to go somewhere. No PJ knows how that works. But anytime that you do that, that hydraulic flow is going to shift. and it's going to go to the softest place it can find, and it happens to be that parking lot. So we're going to remove that, put in a proper structure there. That was never engineered. It was approved by the drainage board at that time, although I don't know why, but they did that. So that's our next biggest project. We think that one may approach 300,000, maybe more. It's currently being designed and permitted as well, and as soon as we get the money available, we'll go do that. Our budget right now, we have about $230,000 available in the Prairie Creek Fund. I don't remember now what we bring in annually. I'm going to guess it's around 45,000. But that's where we have problems doing these downtown projects that people would like to have done. It's just so expensive to do these kind of things, especially in a restricted area. That's why we've got to get permits from the state to allow us to go down and work in the water. They don't like that. It's hard to get those. But on this particular one downtown, we're going to have to do that. You go down to Armstrong Street, or maybe it's South Street, there's another garage that a former mayor told them is okay, build your garage next to the creek. It's now falling in. They want us to come down, armor it, do whatever. We're not going to do that. You build next to the creek, you accept the fact that it's a living, breathing thing, and it moves all the time, especially after a large rain. Those are our biggest problems. We do have a couple of confluences, one where the Hannah Kessler comes in on Catalan Street. The other one is further out in the county on 130 East, out by the Highway Department. Those are other problems areas where we get a lot of tree and debris type waste in there. We have to go back and pull out. Another place where you guys could probably help us with tree removal. Most of this stuff that we have on log jams, it's just tree removal. Get some guys in there with chainsaws, a boom, lift it out, haul it away. Our only option is use tree guys or contractors. Mm-hmm. Contractors is worst case scenario. Tree guys do a pretty good job, but there's places they just can't get in. And we've got a lot of vertical erosion. There's one at the golf course, kind of up by the clubhouse. We don't know what we're going to do with that. We're just kind of waiting to see what it does, because it's about a 40-foot straight down bank. If you've ever seen it or you're golfing, I'm sure you know what that looks like if you've been out that way. So that's another big concern. And numerous places of erosion that we worked on. That's kind of what we hit now. It's the easiest thing to do. We can go in, do a little digging, put some riprap in. And what else have we got here? Oh, we got another interesting problem. Our forefathers, for whatever reason, I know why, it was easy, they didn't have to do the digging. They decided to put the manholes in the bottom of the creek. Can't do that now. But we get log jams around those, so we go out and clear those. We try to look for them. Our biggest helpers in finding those are the sewer department guys. They check that pretty regular. We try to check them a couple times a year, but they also collect debris, things like that. And the one underneath a bridge, I believe it's
Armstrong.
There's one under Armstrong. The other one is downtown here by Clinton
Okay.
Street. It's under Clinton Street.
Mm-hmm.
Pardon?
You're correct.
Yeah.
I see it on the map now.
And that one collects trees and debris as well. So we end up going down there under the bridge trying to get that stuff out of there. So there's just some ways that we can work together and try to take care of some of these problems. We just did a joint project with you guys out on the golf course. Worked out well. We brought in the excavator. You guys replaced the pipe with one of your storm outfalls and provided the labor. We just provided the equipment. Worked out really well for everybody, I think. And we can continue to do that. I think that goes a long way. We'd always like to have, some extra cash.
Sure.
That's always good, especially when we get into the summer. It goes really quickly on these big projects. And like I said, we got the other 4 garages to remove. They're probably going to be $50,000 a pop. Take them out, put riprap in, or whatever we need to do once our engineers look at it. So that's just kind of my general report. If you've got anything you'd like to ask me or any questions about the watershed itself, there's one other option. Well, there's a couple options. One, we give this watershed to the City of Frankfort Utility Service Board.
No thanks.
I think that's a really good option.
Yeah.
I might take the lagoons and trade.
No, well, no, you did that too quick.
Sums up. Yeah. Don't know.
I do fish.
Okay.
So, I've fished that I fished that when it was Domani back in the 70s.
Yeah.
Had to climb over a fence and a whole bunch of trouble to get in there, but we did it. It wasn't worth the effort.
Snuck in.
So we snuck in, and we drove an aluminum john boat over that fence too.
Oh my gosh.
I was much younger.
That's called determination.
It is. We wanted to go fishing really bad, and it was a complete waste of time.
Yeah.
Just little tiny bluegills. But the other option that we do have, and we talked about a little bit, but it gets a little problematic. There's 7 watersheds that the county maintains that come into Prairie Creek. So that could be a potential source. However, then we've got to justify a little more depth as to why a guy that's 20 miles away from downtown, well, not 20, but 5-6 miles away, is paying in to maintain Prairie Creek downtown. We can explain that to them, but they're not going to like it. I'm sure you all had that experience trying to explain to somebody why the fee is what it is. But that's another option that we have looked at doing, but we just don't feel that's the best option yet. Because that money will also be used, the farmer pays in X amount of dollars every year, and then he sees it going to a $300,000 project downtown Frankfort. They're not going to like that. Even though you explain it to them, they're not going to like it. So that's why we haven't gone after the additional watersheds yet. But we would be more than happy to let you guys have Prairie Creek. You get all the revenue that comes with it. We'll give you all our knowledge. And there's a root problems. If you look at the map, we've got that going on down on Armstrong Street now. We've got a place where the open drain comes in, and this is something our forefathers thought was a good idea also. Let's take an open creek or an open ditch, and let's put it in a pipe.
Mm-hmm.
That's always a bad idea, but they did it, and that's one that we have down there by Armstrong Street. The way drain comes into town, gets very large as it goes to the confluence there out Alhambra Street. And you may remember several years ago, we closed that street, had to dig it up, replace a 6-foot diameter pipe that's under there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's more than that. There are numerous houses bordering this pipe, maybe one house over this pipe. And it's our opinion that we're not going to replace these houses. We'll condemn them if we have to, if they fail, and just take the house down and go that route instead. Probably put in a new pipe, or if we continue the open ditch, we would continue the open ditch. We did just find something, PJ, Todd's aware of, probably some of you guys, back behind the Parkview home by the street department. We've got a problem there where the Willard Miller drain comes in, and they decided to put it in a pipe. But now I've always wondered why. But now I think I know why. They had a conflict with 30-inch sewer, is it? That's out there. So they put in a piece of corrugated metal pipe. Bad idea. That's all rusted out now and surrounded with concrete.
Mm.
So now we've got to go in there and try to figure out. We think we're on top of you guys. But there's like zero margin for error. There's maybe an inch or two of elevation difference. So we have to replace our pipe without getting into your pipe. We would like to convert it to an open drain,
Mm-hmm.
because we keep having to do the same problem. We got trash debris that keeps collecting right there. We even had a sort of a grate manufactured that would catch that debris, and that works great, but it has to be cleaned out. And that's just a huge expense to do that, where if we had the open ditch, it could just go all the way through there.
Mm.
I have not engaged any engineers yet to look at that to see what can be done. I think the only way it would work, we use gravity, so do you guys, and we just cut all the pipes open, let them all run together. It would be one option, but I don't think they'll let us do that. But somehow we got to figure out how to fix that. And that's a little further down the road, a little bit bigger project, but figure out what to do with that gravity main that's under there. At least I'm pretty sure it's gravity, right? Yeah. So that's one of our bigger problems right now, because our drain's not getting better due to the fact it's corrugated metal pipe and there's no bottom in it now. Just it keeps falling apart.
It's going to keep getting worse and worse.
Yep.
Um,
So happy to answer any questions.
I don't have any questions. I just have a general statement. As you know, we worked together for 8 years on the drainage board, and this was a common topic that I would bring up, and you and I would discuss about how could we get some help with Prairie Creek, because of all of the storm drains in Frankfort flow into this creek, which helps generate some of the erosion and some of the issues. So I was glad when Rick brought this up, and he'd been talking to you, and I think maybe Mike has, about trying to figure out a way to work together, which we've worked together in the past.
Oh yeah.
But I think I would be comfortable with continuing that relationship as far as sharing labor, working together on projects. And then when it comes to cash, I don't know that I'm not opposed to participating in a project should you decide that there's one that's beyond the scope of what the watershed can handle and you need financial assistance on a case-by-case basis. If you would bring us in, and at that time we would participate financially,
I think that's a good
as
approach.
opposed to what I would not be in favor of is just giving you a X amount of dollars every year to do with whatever you wanted. no offense.
No, I understand what you're saying.
But that allows us to have better control over, what we need to be taken care of. And I would be much more likely to agree to participate in something like that, so.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
We're certainly willing to do that in some of the larger projects in particular. There is one other option that we do have that we have not pulled the trigger on. And a lot of the big cities do this. Lebanon does this. Well, not that they're big, but I was thinking of Hamilton County and
Sure.
Noblesville, some other places like that. We do not assess Frankfort's roads. Legally, we can assess the roads.
Right, and you and I have talked about
Yeah.
that at length in the past,
Exactly.
as far as being impervious surface.
Mm-hmm. And something we don't really want to do is just a little more work for
Right.
everybody else and just drives up everybody's expenses. So if we could figure out a way to do that, like you say on some of these projects, here's a project number. You guys see any way you can put some money into this, things like that. But we've had a great relationship since I started as surveyor working with utilities. Everybody's always been fantastic to work with, help us out. Anytime I've asked, I've never been denied. So I really appreciate that. They're great
welcome.
people to work with.
I'm one person, there's 4 other people here, and
So I do like what Josh is saying, and I'm willing to listen to anything and look for any help we can get.
Well, I would like to say I agree with Josh 100%. And one of the reasons I brought this up earlier this year, Dan, is could you give the board a brief update on the increase to the ditch assessment that occurred last year? It flowed out of the fact, using that term flow, it flowed out of the fact you have a lot of maintenance that needs to be done that was unfunded.
Yeah, when I started, we were getting $5 per small parcel, and we ran out of money every year. So I went to the board, I got it up to $10 a small parcel. We ran out of money every year. If we were to jump in and do these projects now, we have another assessment, which is the one he's referring to, which is where this map came from. We got that assessment up to, I believe it's $25 now. My goal, all those times, was $45 a small lot. That's what it would take to fully fund this and get jobs done. It would bring in over $1 million a year, which would help them tremendously.
Mhm.
But we get a lot of resistance. People don't want that. I get that. So that's kind of where we're at with that, and that's why we ended up where we're at. Say we bring in roughly $45,000 a year now, something like that. But we haven't touched the major part of it this year, simply because we've been lucky. It's just log jams. But we still don't have enough money in there for $200,000 even to do the project. One project alone on Green Street's going to be over $100,000, so that'll wipe that down. So we just kind of sit on it, let the fund build up is our goal right now, so we can get the downtown project going, because that's really the next one on the list. And then we've got a house on South Street, which they built it next to the creek, and the basement is exposed now, and that's just waiting for something bad to happen. And we know it's coming, it's just a matter of time.
Let me ask, I appreciate that update. What about the house adjacent to Prairie Creek on Kiger Street? What's the plans on that?
That's the Green Street project. That one's estimated about $130,000.
Oh, you're
Where?
saying Green Street, but is it on Kiger?
Is it on Kiger?
It's facing the golf course at the bridge?
Dan's talking about one on, it's on Green Street.
Yeah, the one we're
Yeah.
talking about is on Green Street. I'm not
Okay.
sure one on Kiger. I've not
Okay.
had any complaints on that one.
Okay, all right.
But that's where we've got there's roughly 12 inches, 18 inches of soil next to the garage, and then it's a 20-foot straight down drop to the creek. That's just a matter of time before that tree pulls out of there
Okay.
and that garage falls in. We'd better take it out now. We talked to that owner. Originally, he was in agreement. We were going to take the garage out. He's just going to lose it. We can't put it back in. That's the other problem we have with the confluence with the Hannah Kessler. We can't get back there to clean those log jams out. We could go through Judge Hunter's yard. I'm not going to do that on Catalan Street. We can go down our right of way. We've got to clear a lot of trees to get back there. If we came in from Burlington or if we come in from Catalan, it's the same case. It's going to be a major operation. So we rely on our guys with chainsaws to go down there and cut it out by hand as best they can.
So whether, the tactical part of this is whether the board and the utility department chooses to use our tree service that we contract with every year, or we have employees that are, I would use the term tree wranglers. Is that the technical term?
Is that actually a technical term?
We call them tree trimmers.
Tree guys?
But yeah, they've had to wrangle some here.
So whether we do it with our staff, Todd's staff that is, or whether we contract it with our contractor, that's a tactical decision, but I think because much of our stormwater runs into Prairie Creek, we are a big user and contributor to that flow, and I think it's our obligation to help pay for it. So however we get that done, I'm all for it.
I appreciate that, and you're definitely our biggest stormwater user.
Yeah.
No question about that. There's lots of outfalls in there.
Yeah.
I know Dan Hart's over the last few years has got them all mapped out for most of it. And he's one of the reasons we get a lot of work calls. He'll find something out there when he's checking them, which I'm glad you guys are checking. And that's because we're not going to be able to do that. We got 3 people, and I'm not going to go walk that creek and wade it. Sorry, just not going to do it anymore. When I was younger, maybe, but we count on you guys to find that stuff for us, and we will take care of it.
I also think, echoing Josh's comment, I think I've known you for decades, and I'm thinking to the future. So maybe, I don't know, 15, 20 years from now, you might choose to retire, and there'd be a different person in your position,
Yep.
and we don't know that person. So we want to have the ability to chip in when there's a project that's justifiable, and then when it's not, we're not chipping in, and I think that's a good way to go.
Right. I would agree. We do, as you know, we're in a new building now. We do have space in that new building for another employee. We're not ready for that employee yet. I do think we will grow in the future, but we do have that capacity to add another person in there, which will help us quite a bit, maybe an inspector role, something like that. But we also have 580 miles of pipe buried in the county that we're responsible for as well. So it's a big job, but we get it done. Mostly relying on somebody to call us and tell us there's a problem. That's basically the only way you can do it.
And people are good at that.
They're good at that, and I appreciate it 95% of the time.
One of the
Yeah.
things we hear sometime though is that we're restricted to only in-kind contribution rather than cash contribution. That's something we'd have to.
We're looking into it. We have an email between Andrew and I, to the State Board of Accounts.
Yeah.
And we have not heard back yet, so we are looking into that.
Okay.
Has any research been done into our eligibility for, there is an OKRA grant at the state level specifically for stormwater improvements, and drainage projects do qualify as a part of that, at least from what my research has stated. Has any investigation or due diligence been done in that respect?
We have looked at that. We cannot get the grants by ourselves.
Yep.
It takes a partner.
Yep. That's what I
With a
assumed.
partner, we could probably get some of that money.
Yeah, because it looks like it's about 750,000, and the match is only 10% of the total project. So I was just thinking, out of curiosity, that might be something for us to look at collaborating on, because that would be a
Very
way to equip the construction needed for
Right.
those projects. And I think I might know someone who could help us write that grant, who would be
Oh.
community block grant certified.
That
So
would be fantastic.
Yeah.
We have that problem out in the county. We got a lot of drainage issues. We get around the small towns. If we can connect to that small town, we've
Yep.
been successful in getting a few grants.
Yep.
But we have to be connected to the municipality.
Yep.
The same way out here at the interchange 2865. Stinson Drain is that capacity. That's the one that is on the east side of the interstate. Nothing else is going to be built out there until that drain is improved. And we're estimating $5-6 million to do that. So we've actually met with a grant person in Arcadia last year, and she had looked into it a little bit, but we've got to find a partner. But now that the city of Frankfort is out there, we may have a partner. So that could be used to improve that drain as well. Banderas Point's good. They just finished their detention pond, so whatever they want to do in that parcel that's ready to be built on, that area's been covered, but nothing else on the other side of the interstate unless they connect to the Holliker drain, which is on 800. They could get to some of that, but anything along 28 is done until you get to the natural gas station where we have another pipe.
Yeah.
And an open ditch, which open ditches are great. That's what we like the idea of converting things to an open ditch.
Yeah.
But that would be fantastic, I think.
yeah, I mean, especially when you think about some of these bigger projects that are really downtown centric,
Yes.
and some of that. I just think of the collaboration that might be potentially
Yeah,
possible
that
for that.
project
And
downtown's
that's where
2
my brain
blocks long.
starts. Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Dan, thanks for bringing this to our attention.
Not a
And
problem.
it sounds like there's some people here that want to try to figure out some ways to help
I look forward to
with that.
working with you in any way we can. Very encouraging. So, thanks for
Thank
letting
you.
me speak.
Yep.
Thanks
Drive
for inviting
safe.
me.
It's a
Safe.
it's a
I see
snow
it's
globe out
snowing
there.
I'm
now.
gonna leave that to you. If you do that. Everybody have a great evening.
See you, Dan.
Did you switch it over there?
Yeah, it's like snow globe. Yeah.
Okay, this is public participation, and Rick Gunyon, you will tell us your address, and you're participating as a private citizen in this presentation.
Yes, sir. Yes, I am. So, thank you for providing me the opportunity. As Mike said, I am providing public comments tonight to the board as a private citizen, not as a board member. I'm also submitting a copy of this presentation to the board as a public record for the meeting. We'll get right into it. I'll try to keep my comments to a little less than Dan's length of comments, if that's okay. I'm being a little bit facetious there. My motivating factor for why I'm presenting this tonight to the board is we see what we call tension in the system, is the term we use in industry. We have elected and appointed officials trying to move Frankfort forward, and Clinton County forward, and we have some folks that post comments on a local social media site that are quite disrespectful, misleading, incorrect, and counterproductive. And the question comes up, well, what can we do? I had an idea a few months back and started working on that idea. And in the process of working on that idea, I started posting a few comments on that Facebook page, and I got viciously attacked by half a dozen people, accused of speaking down to them and all kinds of sordid things. To the point my wife got upset, my granddaughters got upset, and I was outlawed from participating in that Facebook page from that point forward. And that's understandable. So this was part of a strategy I had to participate and offer some comments, and it didn't go well. So the strategy is driven from this disrespect of folks you see listed here on the left, but it also involves employees of FMU. And I mention that because we're going to talk about a document here briefly that is the site capacity report for the potential data center site in Frankfort, that Todd Corey and I collaborated on that document and published that document. But we did it with the help of Phil Farrell, Chase Thompson, and T.J. Whitaker, right?
Yes.
So when folks in the community, I'm going to use the slang term, badmouth that report and talk poorly about it, yeah, they're talking about Todd and I, but they're talking about you department heads and superintendents as well. And I just don't think that's right. So this case study is where I'm going. I'm developing a case study. A case study is a formal document. It's typically analytical in nature. I'm currently in the draft mode right now. The title of that case study, you see here, Social Media Keyboard Warriors and Public Policy Decision Making. I'm the author, copyright holder, and so forth, and this will be published on the internet. It looks like you see on the right, that's the cover page. Typically in a case study, your following page is called the abstract, and that's a brief synopsis of what information is in this report and what nature and extent of the information. And you see at the bottom, I'll show you a little different picture here. That's the actual document. It begins with some research. So I did some research on this topic of social media, keyboard warriors, misinformation, and so forth. This is the text of the abstract. And you see listed here, one of the documents I'm referencing is a publication by the National Institutes of Health. Another one is from the Yale School of Management. A third one is from a data scientist named Sinan Ariel. And again, we're looking at how social media, this social media site, is being used to influence decision making by public officials. That's the purpose of the case study. Again, the research part of this, these are the citations that I have evaluated. Some of them get into some deep group behavior dynamics and so forth. But this is some of the information I brought in to kind of be the underlying reference point. And one of the questions I have is our local experience with social media behavior, particularly that of keyboard warriors, is that experience consistent with the studies done by the Psychoanalytical Cultural Society, by Yale School of Management, and by this data scientist? Are we seeing the same types of behavior that they saw in their research? The short answer is yes. It's exactly mirroring what they say happens when people try to use social media to spread disinformation, misinformation, and when people use social media to attack others, as we see going on. Moving forward, the genesis of this friction point is the site capacity analysis shown on the right. This board reviewed and accepted this in a prior meeting in November. It was authored by Todd and myself. You see down the bottom. Some people in the community feel it was authored by Logistics Realty because they're listed on here as the site developer, but the document came from Todd and myself. One of the purposes of this document is in the situation where moving forward, we're likely to have potential economic development opportunities, if you will. And so this document can serve as a template for a new plant factory development going forward. We can take out the details here, put in the new site, put in the utility demand load, the utility capacity in this template, and we're much quicker able to develop a site capacity analysis. Let's say, hypothetical, if there was a lettuce farm that was going to be put in somewhere. Now, there's a gentleman in the community, Mr. Dale Davis, has posted, well, I would say quite a number of comments about his analysis of this topic. But as you see here in the left, the fourth bullet down, Mr. Davis confused this analysis that Todd and I did with a completely separate assessment published by the Indiana Finance Authority in 2023. He confused the two and started, I would say, picking at the IFN document, the other document, and it got into a real wormhole, if you will. And that is, interestingly enough, that's an example of what's called the Dunning-Kruger effect. We'll get into that more later. That comes from behavior science. So we're comparing, his confusion was he switched around the document we published on the left and a document we had nothing to do with. In fact, I dare to say, to my knowledge, the board, speaking not as a board member, but I don't recall that the board ever reviewed or discussed this hydrologic assessment of the Anderson Valley document in the past. We have no reason to do that. It's not our document. And so when he started picking at that document, his audience should be someone other than leaders in our community, because we did not do that. One of the things we do in a case study is we show data. In this case, the data is the comment being posted by the individual. And of course, the nature and extent of people posting comments on Facebook is that information is on the internet, and it's on that information is on the internet permanently, well into the future. So the people that post on Facebook must be comfortable with their name being on the internet, or they wouldn't be doing it, right? So he gets into the weeds here about aquifer testing, and he brings out a couple points that are somewhat argumentative. They are these 3 points. He had heard in one of our meetings that, I believe it was Krista, suggested to the board during our discussion that it might be good to make the report available in a plain English version or a translated version. And she was referring to the report that Todd and I authored, and I agreed with that. What she was not referring to is this IFN study that some other group did. The second thing Mr. Davis complained about, he didn't like the fact that he took it that we assumed our report or the other report needed to be dumbed down. That's not the case. You find in the field of engineering, it's actually quite common that we talk about technical language, and not all people that read a technical document are familiar with that. So we also use what's called stakeholder language or plain language. So it's very common you use both types of language in doing engineering work. So it isn't a matter of dumbing it down and belittling the public and saying that they're too stupid to understand this technical document. It's just the convention in engineering is you do speak in both languages.
Rick, could you kind of wind up, please?
I can wind up?
Yep.
Okay. I'll cut my comments short then. If you think about the keyboard warriors, there is a definition from that. It's a social media user who posts angry messages and so forth. We have, by looking at the website, the Facebook page rather, we have the top 5 keyboard warriors identified here and their ages. One of them has an associate degree in automotive service management. One of them has a high school graduate certificate, and 3 of them did not list their education. So I'll jump ahead to maybe one of the more salient points. When we talk about that Dunning-Kruger effect, it's the tendency of people with low ability in a specific area to give overly positive assessments of their ability. In other words, I don't have any knowledge about how PJ operates the wastewater treatment plant, but if I think I do and I start making judgments and claims and statements about it, I'm getting in this world where I'm kind of under the Dunning-Kruger effect. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but I do it anyhow. That leads to incorrect thinking and judging, and that's what we have going on here. One more thing I'd like to point out. Some of the posts, if you read the one at the bottom here, they're not written in conventional English. They're not even in sentence form, and it's very hard to understand what message was intended by that post. But that's, some of the posts are like that. One last thing. We have a few people like Mr. Gephardt here who are willing to tell it like it is, and his post on this Facebook page is that there's no positive comments coming out of this doom and gloom crew on this site. It's all negative. And he talks about some people are helping the county commissioners evaluate the data center possibility. And so he's forward looking, he's thinking clearly, and he's not part of this group that's anti-development, anti-growth, if you will. Lastly, in wrapping it up, Mike, what I don't care to see is Mr. Davis here. He talks about FMU. They are only doing half a job. Well, I take offense to that. There's no place for it. It goes back to the old saying, people can post comments that reflect their opinion, whether they're correct or not. That's just the way it is. It's public space. And I found it interesting that Mr. Davis was attacking Mr. Casper, Russ Casper, as to whether it was appropriate for him to fly to New Jersey and so forth. And Russ, if you know Russ, he's a very calm, collected guy. He wrote back a very well-worded, respectful explanation of the role of Wilo and Casper Media, the fact that our own Todd Corey was in an interview on the radio and they were taking calls and questions live, and he explained that he would be happy to share this information and the fact that there's an organization called CEEF that he's involved in, Russ is involved in. He would be happy to share that with Mr. Davis if he would so choose. I'll go to the conclusions, and they are at the bottom here, because the recommendation is, third paragraph down, I believe city and county decision makers would do well to totally ignore the individual posting anti-growth, anti-government ideology on this Facebook site. And the reason is the evidence shows, and analysis, the comments shows that the local keyboard warriors and their followers openly admit, they tell us, they do not want economic growth or change. They want Frankfort and Clinton County to remain in the past. That's their phrase, not mine. There are certainly, this group, if you count the head count, is about 0.5% of the county population. So they don't represent the majority of the people in the county. That gets back to when the case study is published, it will kind of bring all this into context, and it'll be consistent with what case studies are in general. So I thank the board for allowing me a few more minutes than the normal 3. And I will conclude my comments with that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Rick. And you want to switch me back now? Safety minute. Who's got it?
No, I thought you skipped it today. I was going to be upset.
No. Go for it, Phil.
Sure. The safety minute today is on two-way communication, and it's something that we use in our trade quite often. Two-way communication is used to always ensure clarity for repeating back what you heard and ask for a confirmation. Two-way means confirmed. One-way is a command. When you work around electricity, the most important tool we have isn't our gloves, voltmeter, or even the bucket truck. It's our voice, and the voice answers back to us. Two-way is a closed loop, meaning what you say gets heard and repeated back and confirmed. We use two-way communication when we do any type of switching on the system, energizing or de-energizing lines, a substation, or even a simple house service. It's how we say aligned, informed, and safe. It's not about slowing the job down. It's about making it not go sideways or causing an accident or near miss. Perfect.
Thank you, Phil.
Yep.
I witnessed that one time when I was in the, I'll call it their control room over there, when there was a couple of outages in different places, and they were energizing, de-energizing, and there was always voice communication and confirmation. You know, that switch wasn't pulled until everybody that was involved knew it was going to be pulled or pushed or whatever they do to start it, because the consequences could be terrible if you didn't communicate like that. So thank you for bringing that to our attention tonight. Auditor, you get to go next.
Pretty much business as usual. I am reconciled up to November, obviously, with November just ending. Got to wait about a week to get everything in and make sure everything is done before I can get November taken care of. Other than that, just working on end of year prep. It's hard to believe we're at December already, but here we are.
Look outside. It'll be
Oh,
fun.
yeah, I've been watching it. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great.
I kind of forgot. Did we approve the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Sometimes I forget what we do. Okay, billing office, Karen?
I do have an upcoming meeting with a representative with Tyler, just to make sure that we're getting everything out of our system. Hopefully there'll be some new additions this coming year, some improvements. For the month of November, we sent out 9,986 bills. Of those, we also sent out 1,678 disconnects, and we had 32 new customers start service for November.
When you say new service, is that because a new residence, or is it because of a change of?
And just a new person
New
coming into
person.
Frankfort, or maybe they've moved out of their parents and have started service on their own.
Could we get some information sometime about actually not just new service, or new customers, but new services? Some of these housing developments come on board. I know 3 or 4, whatever. I know it's not going to be a large number, but it is one of the important things I think we need to know is that we're increasing the number of places where meters are being placed, I guess would be the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Bill, you're back up.
Okay, on 11/17/25, it was on a Monday, but on Sunday night, our troublemaker got a call for partial power at Tenneco. They went out and determined that it was a bad underground feed going from the east side of Tenneco's parking lot all the way across the parking lot into the building. So Tenneco agreed we'd just wait till morning and get a game plan. That is on their side of the metering, so they hired us to do the work for them. So we replaced the original underground feed that was put in, I believe I was told in the 60s. And like I said, it went underneath the parking lot, hit a couple manholes. PJ's guys come out and assisted us with entering the manhole safely. And then during the process, we found a portion of the parking lot that had caved in, crushed the conduit. So they brought their backhoe and trucks out to dig that up. And we've got probably 2 inches of 3 or 4 maybe, the most, of soil off, and it was all encased in concrete. So then they had to jackhammer that all out, replace it from the pole into the manhole, and then we started pulling our wire, and they actually stayed and helped us manhandle that. So that was a big help from those guys. And during that process, when everything felt like the world was falling down around us, we responded to a grass fire out by Zachary's, and it was a switch that was trying to fail, and the hot embers were dropping down and set the grass on fire. So a couple of us switched that around to get the load off of it, and we fixed that without having any interruptions to the industrial park. So if that wasn't enough, on the 23rd, with being out in the industrial park, we had no power call at Convestra, and it was a couple lightning arresters that failed, and when they blew up, they burnt some jumpers in two, so we made repairs on that. And then the wind that we had last Wednesday resulted in 3 broken poles and some scattered outages throughout the system. And Saturday, we had no problems at all with the snow and the bad driving conditions. Last night, we had a small outage due to the wind out near the Kirkland area, and we got that all fixed up. And then today, we started doing the Christmas lights around the square. And a couple days last week, we assisted PJ's guys out at Lagoons doing some work out there. And then while I'm up here, since this is our last board meeting as department heads, on the 23rd of December will be our annual Christmas party. And all of you guys are invited to attend like you normally do. So look forward to having you.
Got some great cooks in the.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be really, really good.
I was gonna say I've heard about these shindigs, so
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Phil, are we running a double on 2 people on trouble right now?
We will. We normally do that when the temperatures get really cold. Is when we start doing that.
Normally when it's below zero at night, stuff, or, you know, if it's predicting that, or if it's really cold and the wind's blowing, it's going to be.
Last night we had the trouble guys out on call. He needed help, and then we had the bigger outage come in, and myself and another guy took that. So, but if it gets really treacherous out, yeah, and not like Todd said,
I was looking outside right now.
no, we use our best judgment, play it safe.
Phil kind of downplayed that whole Zachary thing. He basically, Phil and I saved that part of the industrial park from burning down. It was bad.
Phil, be humble.
Keep that on the down
Shocked.
low, Joe.
It was bad.
Well, and I just think it's important to note, like, you know, on social media, I have people who I follow or I'm friends with that are located all over the state in various departments. And obviously, you can't always count on things being apples to apples, but, you know, response times can get pretty long for people to get things fixed. And I think I take immense pride in the fact that you guys are always on it, and it's usually very quick. And I think that that's something to applaud because
And
I
I've
think
said that
we're
before. Living on a municipality like
Yep.
our system, all the guys live close, respond quick,
Yep.
fast, and
Yep. It's just impressive when you see it comparatively to what some of these other communities or municipalities or whatever struggle with. I just think it's something to take pride in, you guys.
Yeah.
So
appreciate it.
Thank you, Phil.
Yep.
Shane, what you got?
Just a couple of updates. Let you guys know that the email migration is underway. I emailed one of the guys at ACCS just prior to the meeting, and he did get back with me before now. And I was asking him about Friday, December 12th for a cutover date. So it looks like you guys are the first to find out, but I'm going to plan on Friday, December 12th, that we cut over email from ACCS over to Microsoft 365. So I'll be sending some emails out to everybody to let them know. So once that migration happens, I'll need to get a hold of some people to help assist them with getting emails changed over, especially some of the departments and their equipment that notifies them when things are going on. I'll make those contacts. But other than that, I'll just take calls. I have sent out documentation, so hopefully that helps people during this migration period. I also have another document ready to go out to help people get signed into email after we've migrated. But after we do this migration, will be cleanup work to do. We'll have to go back through and collect any stray emails from ACCS's mail server. And then I'll have to go back through the archive and migrate each of the accounts over to Microsoft 365. So even though the migration is underway, the work's just getting started. So other than that, I'll be creating a list of electronics that need to be disposed of. The vast majority of it is either equipment that is so old it's no longer usable, or it's broken. So, but I'll work on getting that list created so I can get it to you guys to request for disposal. And also, I'll make sure any hard drives or anything that would contain city or utility data will be removed from those devices prior to disposal. That's all I got.
Question, comment? Thank you, Shane.
Thank you.
Chase, you're up.
So at the plant, we had
Peerless, I brought this up before. Peerless pulled the motor on the high service pump that needed to be repaired. They came in, put plywood down, make sure they protected all of our floors, did a great job of getting that pulled, and actually installed a loaner for us. So we are at full capacity. We don't have to worry about anything there. Still waiting to hear back what the diagnosis is on that motor. We don't know yet. We made a repair on what would be called skid number 2 for our hypo system, which is basically the generation station. It ended up just being a relay, something pretty simple, but put us to where skid 2 was down for a little bit. The positive side of having redundancy in our system makes that really nice. Monthly sampling still going just fine as normal. Pumpage numbers for November. Our average was 3.4 million. Our highest day was November 3rd with 3.9 million. Lowest day was November 27th with 2.5 million. And just some history. I like putting these in here so you guys can kind of see how this has played out for the last several years. Is November of 21, our pumpage was 3.3 million average. Our highest day was 3.7 million on November 11th of 2021, and our lowest day was November 20th with 2.5 million. So numbers are really close. It's been really, really steady for the last 4 years. As far as maintenance goes, they're just keeping up with service renewals and replacements, and trying to keep up with the guys doing meter change outs. Obviously, we have some old stuff in the system and it's causing issues, so it's keeping them pretty busy that way. Phase 1 of Meadowbrook, I know we kind of brought that up before. Phase 1 of Meadowbrook is complete. All the meter pits are in, services are there for when homes get built. So we are completely done with phase 1 at Meadowbrook. And I may have reported that before. As far as meter change outs, this month was a really good month. We kind of threw some guys at it to really knock out a bunch. And for the month of November, we replaced 340 meters, which is a lot. And then we have generators that are scheduled to be serviced by McAllister's. They start next week on the 8th. Really, that's about it.
Questions, comments?
Chase, where do we stand on the maintenance shed design specs?
We are still looking to have the engineers put that together,
Okay.
To get the right specs all put together.
Okay.
We received one quote without rating, so I have somebody else looking at it, and I should hear in the next couple of weeks. But they're the first estimate to just the design and lay it out without rating. So
Okay.
we're taking a different.
Okay. Good. All right.
For the good of the public order, can you please remind everyone the difference between our firm capacity and our overall capacity?
Yeah, so firm capacity, basically, that number, now I always say that number of 7.2 million, and that is not absolute, but it is really, really close. And what that is if a major piece of equipment is out of service, we are still capable of pumping that amount. And that's the 7.2 million. Our total capacity, so if everything is running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as hard as it can run, we can pump 9 million gallons a day.
Okay.
And we are at 3.5, 3.7.
Right. Yes.
Typically.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
PJ,
Okay, the guys at the plant, they did generator services at the plant. They also did winterizing of disinfection, which is clean tanks, clean pumps, blown out injection lines. We installed new flight pumps at Rissy Lift Station. We're waiting on pumps for MASH. This was budgeted for this year, last year. We made repairs to pumps at what we call Williams Road, which is right there by Wilshire. So that station is back to capacity. And then, like Phil stated, both my department and his department worked on getting fiber and power to the pavilions at the lagoons. And I believe that's complete, other than getting cameras and hooking everything up.
Yeah.
We had 7 sewer calls. 2 of them were on us. We did a couple of storm repairs on 5th Street, and we did the storm repair on the golf course, which somebody else, Dan mentioned. And then we did a storm repair behind the street department. And that's all I got. And I don't want to seem rude. We don't have a Christmas party, but if we did, everybody would be invited.
Well, hey, this year we do have a Christmas party for everybody. Remember
We
that.
don't have one at my department.
Right, there you go.
You know, it's the thought that counts, so we appreciate that very much.
Rick, got anything from the lagoons tonight?
No, Mike, I do not. Thank you.
All right. Todd, you're up.
Well, I know you guys are gonna discuss the budget and hopefully approve it today, but after listening to Dan, and I was thinking, and with Josh's comment, in the other departments, we have construction and depreciation accounts. Would you guys be apt to, and this change could be made, it wouldn't change anything in the bottom line, but put in an account for Prairie Creek drainage or something like that, and it could be a transfer from the operating to that line item each month, and then we could start up a fund for that. And if Dan comes and wants to do it, that way it's just not being pulled out randomly. We could say, well, we've got this much budgeted, but would that be something that you would want me to change in the morning before I print copies and get it to the U.S. or to the city council and stuff? Is that a possibility?
Question I've got.
Uh-huh.
The legality of whether we can take monetary funds is going to hinge on that.
No, this would not be. This would be then he could, if that's the case, it would still be, if he would supply us an invoice
Okay.
for
Okay.
part of the job. Well, I
Okay.
do know
Okay.
that we can do that. If they send us an invoice, we could pay the invoice, and then we have a line item just for Prairie Creek.
Yeah, that's not. I see what you're saying and what you're saying. My thought, maybe you are saying the same thing as me.
Uh-huh.
Two-way
But-
communication, guys. Practice two-way
But
communication.
if we were to participate, we would get an invoice directly from the contractor, not Clinton County.
Or yes, yeah, we could do it that way.
So
We
that
could just-
that
if it's
takes that
if it's
whole argument
equipment,
about whether or not we
Yeah.
can share funds or
Well, and
it
then-
doesn't have to be in kind out of the equation.
And then what made me also think that way, and where you're going, Josh, is if we have the tree trimming crew come in and they're doing work for us, and then all of a sudden we want them to go and clean something out of the creek,
We can fund it out of that.
we could fund it out of that instead of out of the electric bill
Yeah.
or the electric budget, and then have to do a transfer from point A to point B. But we could do a transfer inside there for one line item that says Prairie Creek projects or something like that.
And so,
I'm good with that.
so essentially, it's not additional funds we're talking about transferring. It's a portion of what we've already had planned for transfers that's now going into this.
Yes. Yeah, because we never done a transfer on
Yep.
that, but it would
Yes.
just be like our depreciation fund, but it's within that
Yep.
budget.
Yep, it's merely logistics.
Yes, but we would have a line item to pay it out of.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I think would also let us keep track of how much we're spending better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just, it would be a quick look. Well, if he comes in and has a $40,000 project and we want to be involved, and we look at it and say, well, we've only got 30 left for this year, and it could be changed or something, but we would have something just to tie it straight back to.
So we have a point person on finance. What does she think about that?
I am always game for additional tracking, transparency, clarity, right? Because it just helps us quicker make decisions, right? And so, obviously that construction and those depreciation funds get to be larger amounts that we pull from for a variety of different purposes. We've already got them divided out by department. I think this only makes sense logistically.
Okay.
So my vote would be yes.
All right.
Would we? Is it creating a new fund?
I would. Well, I don't think it would hurt, because let's say we don't use it
Yeah.
this year, and then next year a bigger project comes up, and then we could just
Agreed.
keep it in
Yeah.
that fund.
Yeah.
Similar to the construction.
Yeah.
Creek,
Yep.
and
That's
just
what I'm
have
thinking.
it as a brand new fund number.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I was thinking, along those lines.
Krista, as the finance person, would you like to make that a motion that we,
Sure, I will move that we add an additional fund/line item in the budget specifically dedicated for Prairie Creek, what do I call it, watershed maintenance assistance?
go.
Okay.
second?
So moved.
Okay. Roll call.
Rick Gunyon,
Aye.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
Now we gotta decide how much you want us to transfer. I mean, 5,000 a month for the first year going, that way it'd be 60,000 by the end of the year unless it's used. Is that a fair amount to start with out of there? Because his projects are gonna be huge.
Oh, yeah. It sounds fair to me. I didn't have a number in mind when I made that statement, so.
Well, I have to throw
Without
something
looking
in.
at,
I'd have to throw something in the budget. Right now, I mean, it's sitting in a very good spot. The funds are right now, but.
Okay.
I would say either 5 or 10, but that's
Yeah.
just
So
me.
you're,
So,
you're comfortable, sorry.
I guess, what, are we taking it out of the construction depreciation?
Oh, no, we're taking it out of it's the, operating of storm and just making a line item within storm, just like we do in electric, wastewater, and water. So,
Storm is making the transfer to this fund.
yes,
I got you, okay. I see.
And you're comfortable that number would be?
yes. I mean, I'm
Sustainable.
comfortable
Okay.
with 10, Josh.
Okay.
Yeah,
A month,
I
you know.
honestly think we err on the side of higher rather than lower.
Okay,
Because we don't have any idea of what potential projects could come our way. And I think for me, I'd rather have the funds set aside
Mhm.
at a higher level.
And
And then
you
we
can
can
always dial it
re-examine.
back.
That's exactly right. And then we can re-examine if that's not
and
the
then
case.
on top of that, we do have a considerable amount in stormwater funds currently, and it makes sense to allocate that or label it for that purpose. So
Yes.
I'm on board with that.
okay. I'll get that taken care of.
So
I know you,
10,000.
I know you
By
guys
consensus, 10,000?
Per month.
Okay.
per month. Okay, so I know if you're gonna approve it, can we approve it? And then I make that change, with that change tomorrow morning?
It doesn't, it's not any effect on the total.
No, it
So,
will not change anything
In
there.
my mind,
Yep. It's
we're
mere
approving the
logistics.
same budget,
Yeah.
just reallocating where some of it's
Yeah.
going.
It just has an extra row that we don't have in our budget right now.
Right.
That, everybody else understand it that
Huh?
way?
Two
Yeah.
rows? Sorry.
Two.
Rows.
In and out.
In and
Two
out.
rows.
Yeah,
Got it.
from 2.
I did pass accounting.
Well, since we're talking about budget,
Uh-huh.
and it would have been coming up later, is there any discussion about the budget in itself while Todd's up there? Otherwise, I would look for a motion that we approve the budget with those
Amendments.
amendments that we just talked about.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to approve the budget as reviewed, subject to the amendments we discussed just moments ago.
I'll second that.
All right, motion and second. Andrew, roll call.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Rick Gunyon,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. Next item.
And can I request when you guys print those out, can we have that handy little dandy booklet that we got last year with the tabs
Yes,
and the colors?
Sarah and I'll work on those and get them done, but I will make copies then. As soon as I make this change, I'll get those copies going. And I will get copies up to Old Stony tomorrow to put in all of the mailboxes, so they will have theirs in preparation of next Monday's meeting.
Sure, perfect.
So yeah, we'll get that taken care of.
Thank you.
Okay. I talked to Rick just a little bit before the meeting, gave him some paperwork on it last week at our meeting. There was 3 questions. One was about the generators and everything. I took care, I gave him, or the tank people, I gave him that information to look at. And then generators, I answered that question as well, because there are a lot of them. A lot more than I thought there was for wastewater, to be honest with you. And then we also briefly discussed when Dan was here about the transfer or the money going to the county, and we'll just wait for that. But I think this is going to be a much better plan if we get into what we just mentioned. Okay. The only other thing, and I don't know when you want to hit them, Mike, I do have copies of all the salary resolutions, which were in your guys' packet. So these are in the Traveler. to sign if you guys approve those, and there's 13 pages in here, so don't get writer's cramp on that. But
Everyone had an opportunity to review those,
Mm-hmm.
and I would look for a motion to approve those 13 resolutions by number. We won't, the 01 to whatever.
oh, 13, I believe, Mike. Hold on. I don't know if it's 12 or 13.
All.
20,
All of them.
2025-12-1-01 through
Oh, 13.
13.
So moved.
Motion Mike, second.
I'll second that.
Krista, roll call.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
That's really what I've got. You know, you've heard everybody here today, tremendous. But with Phil's safety moment, and Mike, you mentioned it, I get to listen to these guys quite a bit when they have to do switching and stuff. And I could listen to them all day because it's very, very impressive. But, you know, PJ and Chase, they have to get on, and well, Chase doesn't really use the radios, but I know PJ guys have before when we're getting into situations, and they're just all very impressive. Good group of people. So we'll go from there.
Anything else?
No, that's it, Mike.
I provided you with a holiday schedule that we need to approve. Basically, Todd, that holiday schedule is the same as the city, correct?
Yeah, we just took the city's logo off, put ours on there.
That's good. I'll make a motion, we approve the 2026 employee holiday schedule.
Second.
Second by Rick. Roll call when you get ready, right, Andrew?
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye. That's all we have on the agenda is that I had. Is anyone have anything else for the agenda tonight?
Oh,
I
we
don't
have
think
not.
we did.
approved
We
the
did
claims.
minutes, but I don't think we did
We have
claims,
not done
did we?
claims
All right,
yet.
let's do the claims. Any questions
Good
on the
catch.
claims? Motion for approve the claims is presented.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. Andrew, when you get a chance.
Josh Hewitts,
Aye.
Rick Gunion,
Aye.
Krista Stillwell,
Aye.
Mike Reeder,
Aye.
Mike Kelly.
Aye.
I have just a couple of updates on a few outstanding projects, if that's
Okay.
okay. First and foremost, just a reminder that the full FMU Christmas party is taking place next Friday, the 12th, at the Neighborhood Center. We will be having food and good times had by all, so please don't miss it. Employee handbook. I have a reply back from Jeremy York asking some confirming questions on exactly how he needs to be reviewing this, some contextual questions. So he sent that to me as I walked into this meeting. So I'll be replying to that to get him fast forward working on that. Right.
No, the time.
Oh, time of the Christmas party is 1 o'clock. I apologize. And then also, everyone received copies of their business cards tonight. There will be business cards available at the billing office for our contact information. So if individuals want to get a hold of us to ask questions, participate publicly, and engage with us in any way, shape, or form, they will have our contact information at the billing office readily available. Our pictures will also be hung on the wall there as well as here. So those projects are both in motion in an effort to continue to strive for transparency and public engagement.
Anyone else? Board have any? Look for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh yeah, don't miss it.
What's the weather?
Right? Well, there's at least 2 more chances. There's tonight's snow and then one more snow before, yeah.